Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for this week, and my co-host will be joining us very shortly. Before we bring on our first guest, I wanted to bring a few housekeeping notes to your attention. One, for the Black Authors Matter TV Awards, the voting ends tonight at midnight. So you have until midnight to vote if you haven't already. We've gotten almost 3,000 ballots in, so the participation has been very good this year. And some people were clearly having their supporters support them, and that's what they're supposed to do. So the awards show is 2 weeks from tonight. It's always a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to it. Also, for the National Black Book Festival, our registrations are at 76% in terms of vendor space, so we only have 24% left. Yesterday, we confirmed Beatrice Dixon as a featured author, and she is the co-founder and CEO of the Honey Pot Company, which some of you may know about. They do, it was for natural, I guess, care down there. I'll say that anyway. She recently sold a company for like $1 billion or something like that, but she's still the CEO. So she wrote a memoir and she's going to be a featured author at this year's event. So without further ado, we're going to bring on our first guest, and she is new to the show. I think all the guests tonight are new to the show. So that's really good. We're introducing you to some new people. None of these guests tonight have ever been on the show. So our first guest is Katie Richards, and she is an award-winning and best-selling author of romantic suspense. She has a brand new book, and I believe is today your release date? Yes, for Cold Case Cover-Up. So welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me.
And now you have a lot of books, I believe. But when I was checking on just your background, you've been around for a while, and you're an award-winning author. And now, are you joining us from Canada?
I am. I live in Toronto, but you might notice the accent isn't Canadian. I grew up. I'm from just outside of Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay, and it's my co-host lives in the DMV, so she's running late today, but you all can exchange like how close. She's in Accokeek, Maryland.
Okay, I'm in Silver Spring, just right outside of, that's where I grew up. Yeah.
Okay, now I went to Georgetown.
Yes, I watched some, and I've heard you mention that. I graduated from Georgetown Law, so we're fellow.
Did you? Okay, all right. The law school is like in a different place, so we didn't intermingle. Yeah. But I used to live on 16th Street, which takes you straight to Silver Spring.
Yep.
In an apartment building. I don't even know if it exists anymore. It was called the Woodner.
Oh yeah, I know where it is. As far as I know, it exists.
Okay,
it existed when I left.
Okay. So that's it's a small world. So anyway, now when did you decide that you're a lawyer, but you wanted to write fiction?
Well, I wanted to write fiction before I became a lawyer.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to be a writer when I was about 11.
Okay.
But life comes and interests changed. And so I ended up going to law school. I continued to write, but it was more of a hobby at the time.
Okay.
And so I went to law school, and then my husband is Canadian, and he got a job opportunity back here in his hometown in Canada, in Toronto. And so we moved here, and I had been writing what would become the first book that I got published, Pursuit of the Truth, as while I was waiting for all the paperwork and work permits to come through. So I figured, oh, I would, at the time I had transitioned out of practicing law, and I was teaching law. So I figured I would go teach at a university here. But then the pandemic came, that upended everybody's life.
Yes, it did.
And I thought,
it also led to a lot of books.
It did. And that's exactly what happened to me. I said, well, what the heck? I mean, it's a pandemic. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I submitted the book to publishers. And Harlequin, I submitted to Harlequin. I didn't, not even publishers. I didn't really know the system. I hadn't queried anything. So I just sent it to Harlequin, because Harlequin accepts manuscripts directly from the authors.
Oh, okay. They don't require you to have an agent.
Right, exactly. So I said, what do you got to lose? They're probably going to hate it, and you never hear anything, so you won't know. Shockingly, about 6 months later, I was surprised. We were still in the thick of the pandemic. So I was just sitting around at home watching television and got an email that said, we like it. We want to publish it.
Yeah, the thing about, from what I hear, because I have 15 books, but I'm self-published. All of them are self-published, but waiting on a response, and it can come months later.
Yeah.
And it's
or years.
Yeah, out of the blue, like you had forgotten about it. You had thought you had moved on, thinking.
And I had completely said, "Oh well, it's been six months. They're not interested," and because a lot of the time they're supposed to, let you know. But a lot of times publishers, they get so inundated, you don't hear anything. That's how you know they're not interested.
Yeah, they only reach out if it's a yes.
Exactly.
They don't even send you a reject letter. Some of them don't.
Yeah, exactly. I'd written it off, and I like you, I had thought, well, you could always self-publish it, because I thought it was good. I don't think, and I think that happens a lot of the times. Not books, they get tons of manuscripts. Lots of them are good enough to be published. But you don't have so much room. They can only publish so many in a year. So they, kind of, some of it may be luck of the draw. But I thought, well, maybe I'll self-publish, but I had been told you should have like 3 books to publish, 3 books ready to go, so you can publish quickly if you're going to self-publish. So I started writing the second book, which turned out to be lucky, because when Harlequin picked up the first book, they said, well, we think this could be a series, and have you thought about that, and what would the second book be like? And I said, well, actually, I'm almost finished the second book. If you want to read it, I'll send it to you.
That's good. So the romantic suspense, they really are romances, more or less. Is that correct? In terms of the length of the book.
They're so Harlequin are like the mass market romances. They're not super long, about 215 to 250 pages.
Right. Okay.
So like the beach reads, that's what they like to call them. And I write for Intrigue, so it's about 50-50 50-50 mystery and the other half romance. So it's entangled, the plot lines mesh, but you get about half and half.
Okay. Now, one of our regular viewers said that your books are awesome. Tony Benita. She is in Florida, and she's part of a book club, at least one, I think maybe 2, but she also does her own lives about books that she's reading or books she's receiving and talking about. So she's all about, and I think she's retired professionally, and she'll correct me if I'm wrong on the chat, but she reads a lot of books. I forgot what her number was for last year, but it was over 100. it was a lot of books.
Yeah.
And so she said your books are awesome. So and I haven't read any of them yet. I'm really not a romance reader, but I do respect Tony Benita's opinion about books. If she says it's a good book, then there's merit to it.
Well, thank you both. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah. So how many books have you published so far?
Oh, that's a good question. So there are 12 in the Pursuit of the Truth. I'm sorry, it's called the West Investigations series. And the first book in that one is Pursuit of the Truth. And then this is the third, so it's 15 total. This book is the third book in the new series, Guardians of Justice. And so they're loosely, it's not, they're each book in the series is a standalone. So you're going to get the full mystery and it's going to be solved, and you're going to get the happily ever after to the romance in every book, but they're loosely connected. So for instance, the Guardians of Justice series starts with 3 siblings whose father was killed in hit and run when they were teenagers. And the oldest brother, Landon, is an investigative reporter now. And so he's been investigating the father's death, thinking that there's something more to it than just a simple hit and run, because the father, too, was an investigative reporter. So he's dug up his notes and he's noticed he was on this kind of secret, not mission, but secret story that he seemed worried about. And Landon is determined to find out what happened to his father. And in the process, he falls into a mystery of a missing teenage girl and a politician's son who, might be connected to that. And it all has something to do with why his father was killed. So without giving too much away.
Yeah, you don't want to give away the spoilers. Yeah. So do you use your legal background in your books?
Yes, definitely. Yes and no. I always tell the story that Pursuit of the Truth was, that series is about a private investigation agency. But when I wrote the first draft, it was supposed to be about police officers. But I kept getting sort of waylaid and tangled up into the law in a way that, like, when you know too much about something, it's difficult to dramatize it sometimes because you're too in the weeds and too in the details, and nobody cares about specifically how you write an affidavit, right? But you're writing all the details. I said, well, I think I'm having a hard time detaching from the law. So I changed them to private investigators, where I was able to write a little bit more freely, because I wasn't thinking about, they could get in trouble. I mean, they could still get in trouble for some of the things they did because it was illegal, but they weren't police officers violating the law. They were kind of in private investigators, and like the rest of us who sometimes kind of skirt around the law to try to get answers to the questions. So it was a little easier for me to separate from being an attorney.
Okay.
So yes, it helps and it hinders sometimes.
Yeah. So are you still teaching law?
No, actually, when Harlequin picked up Pursuit of the Truth, they ordered 3 or 4 books at the same time. So I decided, well, let's see where this goes. Law schools aren't going anywhere, so I can always go back if this doesn't work out. And I've been very lucky that the books have done really well, and readers like Tony have kept picking them up and reading them and reviewing them, and Harlequin has kept asking for more. So I'm really, I'm really lucky, and I'm blessed in that way that I can do this thing that I imagined doing when I was 11 years old, and now I get to be a writer.
Oh, okay, that's really great. So, when you're coming up with your story ideas, what are you basing them on? I mean, where do you get them from? Where do you get your inspiration for your ideas for the stories?
I read a lot, so that's part of it. Some of it comes just from reading books and going, oh, that's a good idea, but what if it was a murder mystery instead of a rom-com? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then and others just I daydream a lot too. So just randomly, I haven't written enemies to lovers in a while, and I'd like to do that. So, start from there, from something that could really just be a random spark of interest. And I never really had a problem with coming up with stories. I've always been, again, going back to being a little girl, a story, willing to tell the stories and talk and talk and talk. So now I just write down stuff I would talk about.
So what is your undergraduate training in?
You would think it would be something writing, but it isn't. My degree is in economics and econometrics, so numbers, statistics.
Oh, okay. So that's different. That's a kind of a departure. So you're not even using that part, or do you use it?
Not for random things to like keep up with real estate in my area. Not that I'm in the market to buy a house or anything. I just like to keep up with the real estate market.
Okay.
But no, not really, not for work. But I do like statistics. I mean, it helps a little bit, I guess, in when I'm looking at the numbers for books sold and that kind of thing. But not really. I mean, it's not the same kind of statistics.
Okay. Well, sometimes that undergraduate degree may or may not get utilized in your profession. A lot of times people make a complete departure. And I liked my degree is in marketing, well, business marketing. But I liked economics and statistics. I was good at those.
Well, the business part's probably very helpful for you as a small business owner, doing the indie.
Well, I tell people, I really, when you go to a school like Georgetown and you take business, what they are training you for is to like be on the executive level of a big company where the money's already been made.
I see.
They don't teach you how to make money. They teach you the structure and management, marketing for entities like the Fortune 1000, like that.
Like the big corporations where you're at the top of it. Yeah.
Right. So what I learned about business, I learned from my dad, who was a pastor, but he had a couple of business enterprises connected with the church.
Yeah.
They had a daycare and a home for the elderly.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about just life from him. But I worked for small businesses too when I was in college even.
Awesome.
So, and you said you knew you wanted to be a writer at 11.
Yes.
And I was writing as a kid. So, but that wasn't what I wanted to do as a career, but I knew I wanted to be in business when I was 15.
Oh, there you go. So you combined the two loves.
So as soon as I got the opportunity to do so, I did. And I was 25 and I haven't worked for anybody since then.
Yes. It's hard to go back to. I always think like I couldn't go back to an office.
Yeah, well, I never wanted to go back to working for somebody else. I just never didn't want to do it. And my experiences weren't all that positive. It was always some kind of office politics or somebody who was trying to undermine me, or it was just,
it's more than just business. It's more than just going to work and doing your job anytime you.
Yeah. And now being self-employed is a whole different set of issues, but they're not the issues that you have when you're working like in corporate and things like that, where it's political. There's no office politics. And if there are, then you're in control of it.
Right. Yes. Well, my office is me. So if I'm giving myself problems, I have to deal with it.
When you have employees, that's where your issues are.
Yeah.
Finding good people that work. And then when you train people in your small business, you get them, some really good employees, and you train them, and then somebody snatches them up because they can offer more money and more benefits. So those are things you run into. Absolutely. But I stopped hiring people. The work ethic was not the same in the younger generation. it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And so my patience is thin. Uh, as as James Brown would say. So I'm trying to see if there's any more comments or anything. No. So I wanted to see a copy of your book, your latest book. Do you have a copy of it?
Oh, yeah, I should have had it closer, but
Handy.
let's see.
Yeah, I saw the cover. Put it closer to you.
Closer
To,
to me.
to
Yes.
you. Uh-huh.
There we go.
Yeah. Cold
Okay.
case cover up. Okay, so it's a male as the main character. I saw your cover circulating on social media.
Oh, great.
So
I'm not great with social media, but I do
somebody's
post.
posting it. I don't know if it's you or
Yeah.
somebody else posting it, but and there's a page called Black Page Turners,
Yeah.
and they post a lot of the new releases too.
Yeah.
So and I get emails from all the publishers about
Yeah.
stuff coming out in 6 months from now and all that. So between just curiosity and people reaching out and um keeping up, just about all of I'll say half of my social media is book related people. They're either authors or publishers
Yeah.
or agents or something.
Most of mine is too. If I don't know them personally,
Right,
in real life, it's
right,
books.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm. So what are you planning like for your like going forward? Because you're full-time writer now, from
Yeah,
what
so
Mhm.
I still
This
have
is what you
several
do.
books on the way out with Harlequin. The Guardians of Justice series is going to continue, and so there's a book coming out this summer, and then another in December, and then another next year in March, already scheduled and written.
Okay.
And then I'm still writing at least four more in the series, so you can look for them through probably 2028 at least. And then
Oh,
I've got a couple other projects I'm working on that hopefully will catch on as well.
okay. Do you see yourself staying in the romantic suspense lane, or do you see yourself maybe branching out into, um, you know, more the longer length novels, or are you gonna stay in the sweet spot? Is that where
Yeah,
you're gonna
I
stay?
would definitely say I would stay in romantic suspense because I love the combination of mystery and romance. But I also want to branch out as well. You're a writer, so you got to be diverse, and you got to have lots of different streams because interests change amongst readers, but also you just want to keep your interest yourself, right? And I read lots of different genres, so
Okay.
I could be reading a fantasy today and a mystery tomorrow and a romance the next day, and I like it all, and I'm
Okay.
willing to try it all. So yeah, I'm open to writing lots of different things. I always have um, lots of different outlines going for different types of books, and once I finish one, I kind of tool around with the different outlines until one really grabs me, and then go with that. So um, I have written a darker thriller, and that was published, Kill for You. It was published in ebook forms, and it's out there by Simon and Schuster UK. And then I've had a couple other near misses with some psychological suspense thrillers. So maybe one day those will also get to see the light of day.
Oh, okay. Now, when you're writing, since you're writing books so quickly, I know that in the romance, that
Yeah,
Harlequin romance genre, uh, you people publish like 3 or 4 books a year or something like
yeah,
that, and I hear that from most authors in that realm.
yeah.
So, do you ever, when you're writing those, do you ever like put something in one or the other when you like if it's a series? Do you ever like think of something for the next book while you're working on the
Oh,
book, the existing?
absolutely. Absolutely. That's
Okay,
that's that's how pretty much every series became a series. But that's how that Pursuit of the Truth became a series, because I was writing it, not really thinking it was going to be a series or even ever be published, except for maybe if I self-published it. And the main character, Ryan, had a brother who he worked with, and I wasn't really thinking his brother Sean was gonna become a character, but Sean just kept popping up in scenes, and he was interesting to me and dynamic and funny. And they had that Ryan was the older brother, so they had that like the exasperated older brother dealing with the younger brother, even though they're both in their 30s, but still had the same sort of
The
you're always the
dynamic,
baby
the
brother,
same. Yeah.
right? Dynamic. And I thought he needs his own. Sean needs his own book because like I'm not through with him. So that's how the second book came along, and then by the second book I realized, you know what, I think there are four brothers. So I, put two more brothers in the first book so that I could make the series, because at that point Harlequin was asking for more, and what was the series going to look like. So that's how I ended up adding four brothers who to this investigation private eye firm. And that's where, and then the brothers had friends who also worked for the PI firm, and then it kind of became 12 books.
Oh, okay. Now, Tony Benita also, she asked how many books are going to be in the Guardian series?
I do not know for sure. Definitely 6 for sure, because 6 are already written, but it might be more.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And is the West investigation series finished?
I think so. It might make a comeback. I might find, but 12 books is a lot of books. So I think I might be ready to find different characters and different plot lines.
Okay. And if someone were reading your work for the first time and they never read a book by Katie Richards, what book do you think would be the best place for them to start?
Well, Pursuit of the Truth is always great if you're a person who needs to know every little detail and in order. So Pursuit of the Truth is the very first in the West Investigations. Or if you want to start with more recent, the first book in Guardians of Justice is Killer on the Potomac. And that's set in Washington. So for all the folks who are Washington based, you might be interested in that. Pursuit of the Truth is in New York, both places I've lived before. Fictionalized, I should say, fictionalized New York and Washington. You won't recognize everything. I made some of it up.
Okay.
So those are two good places to start.
Okay. So do you plan to stay in Canada, or just that's like a
Yeah, I mean, indefinitely. We've been here for many, many years now, and my kids are in high school, so at least until they're out of high school. Then
okay.
You never know. Yeah. My husband's Canadian, and I'm American, and we met right after law school. He's also an attorney, so he lived in the U.S. for 20 years for me, so my turn.
Okay. Well, how's the weather up there?
Canada, snow, rain, cold.
I figured.
Yeah.
I figured. I've been to Canada once, but it was on an Alaskan cruise, so it's just a stop on on the route.
Yeah.
But I live in Houston, so today it was almost 90 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
This is when it starts heating up. I mean,
it was rainy here and 72, which is
not bad.
Not bad at all. It was warm. Nobody was wearing coats or anything. So it's what we consider warm.
Right.
But 90, it might, if we're going to see 90s, it won't be until August. And August is really, really hot. Well, really, really hot. 90s. Really, really hot. And then everything else is moderate to freezing.
Okay. Yeah, I was there in August. That was when we went on the cruise.
Yeah.
So, and it was chilly, but beautiful.
Only because you're in Houston.
Well, it was like 50. You had to wear a jacket.
Where in Canada were you?
I can't even tell you, because it was really an Alaskan cruise. Did I even get off the ship?
You were on the West Coast.
I didn't get off the ship. Yeah, I was.
You were on the West Coast and probably way far north.
It was far north, and it was a little town, and the people said that there was a Walmart there. And I'm like, I can go to Walmart at home. I'm not going to get off the ship to go to Walmart. So they
I don't blame you.
it was like it wasn't like any kind of excursions or anything.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get off the ship.
Come to Toronto. Toronto is it really, you could literally look over and see the US from Toronto. We are not far from the US. I actually live in the suburbs, and I live an hour and a half from the border, so it's still not terribly far.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make it back when I'm actually going to Canada, not just like a stop off. But anyway, thank you so much for being a guest on the show, and congratulations on your book release date for Cold Case Cover Up.
Yeah.
And there's the book cover. Get everybody, get your copy.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, we're going to bring on our second guest. But before we do, I need to check to find out if Rhonda, because she normally, if she can't come at all, she will say, I can't be there. But she hadn't said anything when I first signed on. So I'm going to just check to see if she is going to be on at all, because it's helpful for me mentally to know if I'm going to be by myself the whole night or no. So I didn't see any kind of a message. Oh, she said she's coming. Okay. Okay, she says she's coming. So we'll see when she gets here. So anyway, our next guest, and we're giving away a book tonight. I didn't say that at the top. So we're giving away a book by our next guest. Her new book is called, it's a fantasy, and it's called Witch Queen Rising. This is an actual novel, not an arc, I think. Yeah, this is the actual novel. So, Savannah Stevens, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. I was showing your book. And also, what I want to do before we start our conversation, we're giving away this book. And the way we give away books to our audience is through trivia about the book. And I wanted to ask the question because otherwise we might discuss it. We probably will discuss it in the conversation. So I wanted to give people a chance to win the book. The first person that gets the correct answer wins the book. So the question for tonight is, there's a character who's a reclusive witch in this story, and she resides in what southern city? So the first person to answer that question correctly wins your copy of the book, and we mail it to you. If you want a book before, we have your address. If you haven't, you can DM us your address. So thank you for being a guest on the show, Savannah, and welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you so much for having me, Gwen. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Now, is this your debut novel?
This is my whole debut novel. I'm a baby author, quite literally my first rodeo.
That's what I thought. Penguin Random House let us know the book was coming out, and they sent us the book to give away. So congratulations on your debut. And let me get a drink of water. And you decided to write in the fantasy realm, but is fantasy something that you've always had an interest in? Do you read fantasy? What drew you to the fantasy genre?
So I am a longtime lover of fantasy. I have the privilege of, my mother was a poet. I grew up in a house surrounded by books, surrounded by literature. I was, oddly enough, the sci-fi baby, or oh no, I was the fantasy child where everyone else in my family was more sci-fi based. I appreciate sci-fi, but fantasy is pretty much my bread and butter. And I've been writing it for as long as I can remember.
Wow. So, I've never read a fantasy book. So I'm an avid reader.
Okay.
Been reading since the age of 4, but just never delved into the fantasy genre. But fantasy is really a growing area category, there are lots of new books and new authors and TV shows and series online streaming and just all kinds. I guess I'm more of a real world person.
Which is fair.
Or I like historical fiction, which is still real world, but it's in the past.
And I get that. So for me, fantasy was originally all about escapism. I'm a child of the inner city. I was born and raised in the Bronx in the 90s. And so being able to dive into fantastical worlds with dragons and magics and quests was much better than the sirens and the gunshots that I grew up hearing. But like you, one of the things that I probably noticed was there weren't many people who looked like me in fantasy. And so when I grew up and I decided to start writing, that was one of the first things I wanted to fix.
In fact, I'm trying to think of who's an early, like, who was a fantasy writer like 30 years ago. Do you know? I mean,
Octavia Butler.
That was Black. Well, but hers wasn't fantasy as much as it was. So I read Octavia Butler.
So maybe are considered adjacent.
Okay. So if she's considered like fantasy, I thought she was more in the sci-fi realm. But she's probably one of the few, and I loved her books. Her books were very good. So was she one of the people that you read? Like, did you read her work early on, or who were some of the people some of the books you read that really immersed you in fantasy? Did you read Harry Potter in those books?
It's so funny about Harry Potter, and as many issues as I have with J.K. Rowling, I had been gifted all 3 of those books, I want to say, when I was 10 for Christmas. And I remember like refusing to read them just because everyone was into them, and it felt like overhyped at that point. And then I think around summer, when I didn't have anything else to read, I gave it a shot, and I finished all 3 books in a week and was so mad because I think at the time the next book was maybe like 2 years later. So I felt, again, even more betrayed by this series that I hadn't even wanted to read. But what I loved about Harry Potter, again, was the fantasy, the ability to escape our current world and go into this fantastical space. Other series like that would have been Jacqueline Carey, Laurel K. Hamilton, Sarah Douglas, and those were primarily white authors, I will admit, because again, no one was really writing us into fantasy. If I could think of someone probably close to me, would have been L.A. Banks. She had an urban fantasy series about Black and Hispanic vampires in the Bronx, and that's probably what did it for me.
Yeah, I met her. And she died tragically, and it was kind of fast.
I did not know that. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I think she had kidney failure or something.
My gosh.
And it's like 10, I don't know, it's been years ago. So, but I think it was kidney. She was one of the first people. So it's been more than that, because I'm rambling a little bit, because I distinctly remember her being a spokesperson for Obamacare when it was first introduced, when it was first passed. So that's been a good, and then she died maybe a year after that. So, she had a lot of books, but she wrote in that genre, but she also, I think, wrote romance or something. I met her too, but this was years ago. I've been in the book field for many years. It started off with the online bookstore, then a brick and mortar bookstore, so since the end of 98, that's when I've been in the book space since then.
That's amazing.
An author too. So the author stuff came later, but I've been a reader, avid reader, since age 4. But and there weren't any fantasy books when I was, reading fiction. It was more, the whole industry has changed because there are a lot more authors, for one. Even when we first got into the book space, the whole self-publishing option wasn't really available.
Correct.
So if you were either published by a big publisher or you had one book where you had to like order 500 copies and they ended up in your garage, that kind of thing. So
Correct. Pawned off to whatever hapless stranger you were speaking to at the time. I
right.
know.
Right. Or some people, did it they had a speaking career and they need kind of like a book
Mm,
to augment their public speaking. So, but once self-publishing took off, it changed the whole industry
absolutely.
because there's a lot of people successfully self-publishing. And then the big publishers are looking at the people who are successfully self-publishing so they can sign them,
Hmm.
see who's breaking through. So was this your first book that you wrote, or had you written other books and this is the first one you pitched?
This is the first book that I finished. I had started at least 5 or 6 over the years. I I think this was definitely again like the first novel that I intended to write. I think at the time when I was younger, I was just writing to create a story. It wasn't with an in particular length or to get it published in mind.
Okay.
I think the closest I came before that was maybe an early undergrad. But no, Witch Queen Rising is my first official book and my first official like baby, like literary baby.
And it came out last Tuesday. Uh,
Last
a week ago
Tuesday.
today. A week ago today. And so tell us about the storyline for Witch Queen Rising and who is she? What makes her tick, and uh what makes people who want to read fantasy, why should they pick up this book?
So Seraphine Barreau, Fiend for short, is known as the Tick Witch. She is the daughter of a dynasty. Her family is one of the most powerful witch families in the city from which they come from. And she had left there short, like pretty much 15 going on 16. Lots of family trauma, lots of skeletons in the family closet, and she had pretty much just given up on the legacy that she had been born into. But she wakes up one evening having been given this incredible power that essentially crowns her as the witch queen of her people. Her mother was the witch queen before her, and she is not supposed to be the witch queen now because the power doesn't follow families, for lack of a better word. It goes between two rival houses of magic. So when she gets chosen, no one is expecting it, nobody wants her, and nobody wants to keep her. So her story is primarily around the fact that she is coming back to a community that doesn't want her, doesn't trust her. She has to deal with the skeletons in her family's closet. There's personal and romantic issues where the leader of the shifters is actually the little boy that she had, or now grown up man version of the boy she fell in love with when she was a teenager. And there's a small minor curse that's poisoning her people. So she's got a lot going on.
Okay, so when people write fantasy,
Hmm.
they have to someone asked if this is on YouTube. No, it's only live on Facebook. Our YouTube is after the fact. So we upload to YouTube after the fact. So
Oh,
that's just for people who might want to know that. And Tony Bonita got the correct answer to the question about the Southern City. So Tony, you win the book, and the Southern City.
congratulations.
Yeah. The Southern City is New Orleans. Tony Bonita watches the show every week. And she also said that L.A. Banks wrote the Vampire Huntress
Yes.
series.
Yes.
Tony Bonita is an avid reader. And she also, I don't know if she knows all this stuff, is like her brain is a database, or like she can just rattle it off, or she just Googles while we're watching. But she normally will fill in blanks that you know, that come up in the conversation. So
Thank you.
such an avid reader. And she reads a lot of different things. So she reads across genres.
Mhm.
So yeah, when you're creating these worlds, how does your mind like do that?
It's a process. So it's a little, or I think it's a little strange. Whenever I come across an idea, whether that's a turn of phrase, it could be a song lyric, it could be an image, it could be an idea. Like I remember I heard a line one time of, I have souls to co-warp and values to warp. And I was like, oh, that's a good villain. So like my brain will conceptualize something like that as finding a bone. And if I find enough bones that are like that, I can put together a skeleton. And from the skeleton, I can then build or flesh out a story. The first bone for Witch Queen Rising was actually from Beyonce's Formation video, which is that still of her standing in the black lace goth dress, the tribal jewelry, and like the men in the antebellum plantation house behind her. There was something so striking about that image for me that I was like, ooh, what is this world? Who are these characters? And so that's how it started.
Oh, okay. Now that's interesting. But you know, that happens in writing for other genres too. So
Of
see,
course.
one thing can happen, and that it plants a seed, and you know, it germinates, and then the story grows from there.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, this is so is this about witchcraft or just
So I wouldn't know. I would not call it witchcraft. Even
okay?
witchcraft is technically more Europe. Like it's not Wicca. It's not like it's not in
Oh,
that regard.
okay,
It's not Eastern European.
okay,
But I was very careful to stay away from ancestral magic because I'm uninitiated. That's not my bag. And we don't want to mess anybody in those spaces. But it's essentially think of the witches like magical mutants. Like if we remember X-Men, their individual specialties are just magic based.
okay,
So
okay. And
that's people.
so as the main character, well, as she's the queen, right? So she's the next in line for queendom, so to
Yes.
speak. Okay, all right. This is interesting. And now, is this your title? Is this the title you started with?
It is not the title I started with. Originally, it was Born of the Bayou, which is something I like snuck later into some dialogue at the tail end of the book. But they had essentially asked me if I had any ideas for alternative titles. And Witch Queen Rises was actually something I think I had posted earlier, and then it just became Witch Queen Rising, and I just liked the ring of that.
Oh, okay. So are you pitching this? Have you had your book signings? Are you on a tour? Are you talking to book clubs about picking your book?
So this is pretty much the tour for me. I was very fortunate that I had my first book signing the day of at my local Barnes and Noble. That was a dream come true. I do have a couple of other places that I have made some connections with, and we're in the process of putting together some dates. I've also been accepted to a couple of book conventions and fairs, and I'll be going to those over the next year or so. So we are on tour as a debut author.
Okay. So then now that do you have another book that you do? Did they sign you to a 2 or 3 book deal?
So, Witch Queen Rising is the first of the Blood and Magic duology. I've been unofficially calling the next book Witch Queen's War. I don't know if that's what it'll end up being, but that's what it is as of right now.
Okay.
And it was pitched as a duology, but if there is enough interest, enough desire to keep it going, who would I be to deny people what they want?
Right. So what do you do like for your day job?
And and I'm laughing because it has changed quite a bit over the last couple of years. I used to collect many pretty pieces of paper before this. I have two masters in total. I worked as an admin. I worked in mental health. I worked in criminal justice. But as I began transitioning to wanting to write full time, I had to step back from, I guess, the more traditional sources of income that I was making. So as of right now, I am a humble parking lot attendant.
Oh, well, but that gives you flexibility.
Which is exactly why we did it. I intentionally made some smart money decisions where I now own a duplex. And so I'm not really working for my mortgage, I'm working for my bills. And that's a very different level of expenses. And so
Yeah.
that allowed me to take the pay cut that I do for my current job because it allows me to then get more writing done. And and I couldn't be happier.
Well, you know, a lot of people have different paths to that they take when they are writers. And even some of the prolific writers that have many, many, many books still have day jobs. And then some are self-published and just write full time. We've had some on the show where they're pumping out like a book a month almost, but they schedule themselves. They start at 6 a.m. and they write all day, and they developed a following, and it's about finding readers and hoping they
Well, it's a
find you.
process.
Yeah, it's a process.
No,
So
my job knows that they have me until 2030. That's the deadline.
okay. So when you first pitched your book, or did you have an agent, or did you?
I did.
You did. Okay. Okay. So when you got your yes, how exciting was that for you?
Whew. It was surreal to say the least. I'm very fortunate in that most people go through the querying trenches for months, if not years at a time. Um, I got my agent in 6 weeks and 6 queries, and then I actually accepted the offer for my book deal on the anniversary of signing with my agent.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations on that, because I,
Yeah.
we've interviewed over 850 people since we started the show, most of whom are authors, but not all. And some of the stories that they
Oh,
tell,
wow.
some of them took 20
Horror
years to
stories.
get a first book deal, to 20 years of writing, like 20 years of pitching. And then some people, it's fast, and then
Yeah.
there's all different levels in between of time frames.
And admittedly, I was prepared for the long haul. I had spreadsheets, I had templates, I had a whole battle plan. And then I randomly found my agent saying like she was opening up for queries. I looked into her. I said, she seems nice. Let's see what happens. And then she was the one who picked me.
Yeah, it's a lot. Having a good agent is helpful when you're trying to go the traditional route,
Yeah.
because some of the publishers, they won't even talk to. They
Mm-hmm.
only will talk to you through your agent. So, so what do you want people to know about this main character in this book? And her name is Seraphine.
Seraphine or Fiend. Just Fiend for short.
Seraphine
Yes.
Barrow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Fiend is just doing her best.
Oh,
I
fiend for sure. And it could be like fiending.
Yes.
Could be like a play on words. Okay.
You got it. You picked up on it. Thank you. I think you're
Okay.
the first person who did.
I'm a
Um,
word person. So,
Fiend gets put through the ringer. She comes home already on a somber note where her mother is dead, has to figure out what is going on with her mother. Figures out that again, there is this now curse that's threatening her people. There's paranormal politics between the witches who don't want her, the other paranormal factions, which are vampires, shapeshifters, and fae. And so between all of those things, like I think someone tries to kill her about 5 times over the course of the book. So sis is stressed. She's tired. But the all of that is essentially just an analogy for the reality that Black women often face, which is they are the face and the backbone of the community. They are the ones who are holding everything together, often thanklessly. Often with people who are opposed to the ways in which that they are trying to do things. And a lot of Fiend's story is just coming to terms with the fact that she's going to have to do things on her own terms, whether people like it or they don't. She has to make peace with the things that have happened to her in the past. And she, again, just has to decide what sort of ruler or queen that she wants to be. And that's pretty much the bulk of her story.
okay. Now, is there some romance for fiend in here?
So there is, I want to be real clear.
Yeah,
This is not a romance. This is not a
This is
romance.
not
This
a
is not a
romance.
romanticy. There's no spice. It's not cozy.
Okay.
But your girl has options. She has 2 options at the end of the book, and we'll see where that goes.
Okay. All right. Well, Savannah, congratulations
Thank you
on
so much.
your debut book, and I hope you sell thousands of copies.
You and me
And
both.
we're looking forward to the sequel or the next installment in this series. And Fiend is a continuing character in the next one.
Yes.
She is. Okay. All right. And where do you live now? You may have mentioned it, but
so I'm based in Central New York, up in Syracuse. I still try to get down to the city as often as I can because, again, born and raised in the Bronx, I miss my people.
Yeah, okay, Syracuse. Never been there, but I have been to New York.
You're not missing anything.
I know. I hear about the snow. That's what it's lots of snow.
And I was listening to you and your earlier guest, I believe Katie Richards, and I was just in Canada this weekend myself. I thought I was going to be going to Toronto, ended up in London, and she is correct. It is cold, it's wet, it's snowy all the time.
Okay, well, take care. Thanks so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV, and again, congratulations.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
You too. Okay, so before we bring on our next guest, I just wanted to remind everybody again about the Black Authors Matter TV Awards. They're coming up 2 weeks from tonight. If you, okay, Natalie had a question, but I wasn't able to ask it, and I apologize for that. So at any rate, if you haven't voted in the Black Authors Matter TV Awards, go online and go to our Facebook page, which is the same page you're watching this show on. There, one of our reels has all of the finalists in it, their pictures and everything by category, and there's a link where you can vote. The voting ends at midnight tonight, and you can vote more than once. Of course, it ends tonight, but you can only vote once per day per IP address. So you can vote on your phone if you want to cast multiple votes. If you're excited about voting for a particular people, you can do it on your phone, your laptop, your iPad. Normally, people have 3 IPs, or unless they have 2 phones. So, at any rate, you can do that. Also, the National Black Book Festival registration, we're at 76% as far as our vendor space. So, if you want to sign up for that, do so without delay. And then finally, the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards. That process is ongoing. It ends June 3rd, I believe. If you're a children's author, look at the guidelines and you can submit your book for that if it follows the guidelines. And that information is at Black Authors Matter Book Awards.com. So we try to keep our the different projects that we're working on or that we feature separate so the information is more accessible. So our next guest is Jason Powell. He is actually a firefighter by day. I don't know if it's by day or not, but he's a firefighter in New York, and he's written a book called No Man's Ghost. And I want to find out how he went from being a firefighter to a novelist. He did mention it in the information that he submitted, but that's not a usual transition from have we ever had a firefighter on the show? I think the only firefighter we ever had was his book was about firefighters. So it was more his history book, and he was based in like Chicago or something like that. So anyway, Jason Powell, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm great. And do you have a copy of your book handy?
I do. I want to apologize first. I'm in a hotel room because I am doing hazmat training in Pueblo, Colorado.
Oh, okay. Well, no problem. But, people, we have all kinds of backgrounds and backdrops. Well, some of them are not real. I have a green screen, so this is not. The room I'm in, you can't see. So anyway,
I'm just angled so that you don't see the bed.
Yeah, no, we can't see the bed, and no problem at all. We have people. Sometimes they're joining us from overseas, and there's times an 8-hour time difference or more than that. We've had somebody join the show from far away as Iraq.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And I don't know what the time difference is from there.
Neither
So,
do I.
so anyway, no problems. So, No Man's Ghost is about. Tell us what it's about.
Uh, there's a saying in the fire service that says, "Let no man's ghost return to say my training let me down."
Okay.
So, No Man's Ghost is about a probationary firefighter during his first week in the firehouse. At the same time, his firehouse is experiencing chronic false alarm calls for fire. Um, and then it eventually, the guy making the phone calls eventually decides that false alarms aren't good enough. It's sort of a reverse Boy Who Cried Wolf situation.
Okay.
The guy who's making the calls is trying to get back at his ex-wife or his soon-to-be ex-wife for kicking him out of their apartment. So he calls the fire department every night at 3 o'clock, claiming that there's a fire in her apartment so that they can go and wake her up and knock on the door to make sure she's okay. It's a petty thing, and then he decides that it's not enough, and he sets a fire. Him setting a fire is not spoiler alert. That's not the that's not the climax of the story.
Okay. Well, some people, when they have failed relationships, instead of just letting the relationship go, they have to accelerate things and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it makes good fodder for a novel.
I think so. So there's a lot of tropes I was trying to avoid. You follow the main character's name is Charles. He's a probationary firefighter. So you'll learn a bunch about the fire department, but it's not supposed to be like a fire department propaganda book. It's not a pro firefighter book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is sort of a coming of age story. Um, but I wanted to try to that's a bit of a used trope. I wanted to try to write that type of story without it being typical. And I felt like having him learn the ropes in the fire department while battling his lack of confidence is a good way of doing that when all he has to do in this book is his job. But it's a big thing for him. And by the time he gets to the point where he has to do his job, I hope that the readers are rooting for him.
Okay, now so you decided to write what you know, which is for your first novel, which I'm assuming this is your first. Is this your first published work or your first book?
It is my first published novel. I've had 14 short stories published.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is now totally new.
No,
Okay. But go ahead. You were going to say something.
I took a master class from Lee Child, and he said something that I heard first Walter Mosley say at Thriller Fest that he doesn't like Walter Mosley said he doesn't know that he agrees with the term write what you know. He thinks it's write what you're passionate about, right? Because if I did a good job writing the female characters in my book, it's not that I know what it's like to be a woman, or maybe even that I know a woman is just. Actually, I'm not going to continue that because now it sounds like I'm saying I'm passionate about women. But what his point was is if you know enough about it, or if you care enough about it, then you can write about it well. And I was surprised by the fire department. It's not what I expected it to be when I got in, and it's a lot better than I expected it to be. And I kind of wanted to write that in this story, and I love thrillers, so I wanted to find a way of writing that into a thriller.
Okay. So how long have you been a firefighter?
December made 10 years.
Oh, okay. That's a solid amount of time.
Yes,
That,
ma'am. It's
that
like 10
means
and a half.
commitment to it. And so, as a firefighter, what's your typical day like? Or or is there a typical day?
Firefighters might be annoyed if I said that there was a typical day, but there's a typical day. So I work 24-hour shifts. So if my shift is
Okay.
starting at 9 a.m., it'll either start in the morning at 9 a.m. or it'll start at 6 p.m. So I'll either do 9 to 9 or I'll do 6 to 6. If I start at 9, we all eat breakfast together. Everybody who's coming in for the day will bring something to make for breakfast. And we'll eat breakfast together. Then we'll clean the dishes. Then we'll go over all the tools in the truck, make sure everything is in and the way it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to be, and in shape. Then we'll clean the house from the day before because the people who worked the night before, if they had an opportunity, they took a nap or they slept. There's never an opportunity to get a good night's sleep, but they're a bed. So we'll change the sheets, we'll wash the sheets, we'll clean the bathrooms, we'll clean the kitchen, and then we'll do a drill for the day. We'll train on something. Usually the most senior person will decide what it is. We'll train on something, then we'll eat lunch together, and then everybody sort of goes their own way and does their own thing. That for me is my time to write, um, which is a very nice situation. It's never, it's seldom slow enough that we have like hours of uninterrupted time, but between, let's say, 2 o'clock and the end of the day, the day tour, which is 6 p.m., everybody's doing their own thing. And then people who are coming in for the 6 p.m. shift will come in and relieve, and we'll do it all over again.
Oh, okay. I heard about the 24-hour shifts on movies and shows, but I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that that was the system.
It's a good system. Like it's called a firehouse because it has everything that a home has. We have a laundry room, we have showers, we have TVs, we have couches, we have a stove, we have a grill, um, we have a gym. We can survive in the firehouse for 24 hours. And then the city only schedules us 48 hours a week. So that means I'm only doing technically 2 days and I have 5 days off.
Oh,
Which,
okay.
yeah,
Is that
which
that's considered full time?
that's full time, yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anytime that you work out of those 48 hours, it's overtime. So you're
Okay.
either gonna have a nice check or you're gonna have a nice week with days off.
Okay. So firefighting is somewhat dangerous job. Somewhat.
Somewhat, yes. It is a dangerous job. I don't want to minimize it. Um, Very often people will say to me, you really want to run into burning buildings? And I'll tell them that that's my job, and they'll say, "Oh, I would never do that," or "I could never do that." And they probably could not, but I couldn't either before I went through the academy and I was trained how to do it. Me running into a fire is not the same as you running into a fire, and it's not for anything other than the fact that I was trained to do it. Do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I can't get out of the academy and into a firehouse unless I'm qualified to do it. So yes, it's a dangerous job, but the academy is 4.5 months of teaching you how to mitigate dangerous situations and avoid them being as bad as they could be.
Okay. So in a typical day or shift or whatever,
Mhm.
um, how many fires do you all go to?
So let me say this.
A lot.
No, so um, last year in 2025, my firehouse did 4,217 runs altogether. We're a specialty unit, so we're a hazmat house. So my particular firehouse is New York City's Ebola response unit. All that means is if there is a biological outbreak or biological attack, we would be responding. God forbid that ever happens, but that's what we're trained for. But as a regular engine, we did 4,217 runs for the year. 104 of them were fires.
Oh, okay.
So so most of the times, so to answer your question, I don't know that I've gone to a legit fire, and by legit fire I mean fire in a structural building, like fire in a apartment building or in a commercial building. I've gone to car fires. There have been brush fires,
Okay.
or rubbish fires, but as far as a structural fire, I don't know that I've gone to one in 2026.
Oh, well, in a way, that's good.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
is.
Because in New York, you're in New York City,
I
correct?
am now. Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, people are close together.
Right.
So
So the number one I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, no, no. Go ahead.
The uh the number one cause of residential fires right now in New York City is lithium ion batteries. So like people will charge the batteries for their scooters, the e-scooters.
Mm-hmm.
those should not be charged in residential homes, and people don't know that, or people don't care, and they charge it there, and it sparks out and it causes fires. So fires are increasing, but aside from that, the typical causes of fire is smoking, bad outlets, or cooking. Those have we do a pretty good job educating people on that, so those have gone down.
Okay. Yeah, I think the lithium battery issue would be it's a very urban problem.
Yes.
And I don't even know if we even have, I'm in Houston. I don't even know if we have those. I see people on scooters, but they're like in the neighborhood, like kids will be on. Is
Right.
that the same kind? Is that the same kind? Or is it
No. The
a
ones,
level up? The ones
yeah,
that I've seen on TV that they have in New York where they rent them?
yes, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
So those are a higher level of
right.
scooter.
Those are they have electronic batteries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's electronic battery. Um, and I've seen that in an episode of some show I saw where where that was a cause of a fire. Um,
Not a firefighter show, was it?
no,
Okay, good.
I don't watch. You know what? I don't watch the fire show,
Neither do
and
I.
because I'm like, I don't want to see people being burned up. That's not. I watch Chicago Med and I watch Chicago PD. But I don't watch Chicago Fire because I don't want to see people burn up. And that's probably why I don't watch 911, any of the 911s.
Yeah,
But
I don't watch Chicago Fire either.
yeah, well, it's probably too close to home for you.
No, it's because
Is it
I
not
write fiction.
realistic?
It's not realistic, and I write
Okay.
fiction about firefighting. I don't want to be influenced.
Well, I don't know if that necessary. I think you'd be more influenced by just what you witness in person.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
So, who's your main character in your book?
His name is Charles Davids.
Okay, and this is the guy who's trying to get back at his girlfriend or his ex or whatever.
No. Charles Davids is a probationary firefighter.
Okay, so who the person trying to get back at the ex is a different character in the book.
Yes, he's the antagonist. He's the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to mix up. Charles is not not the bad
Yes.
guy. Okay, so but that's a creative. I would never think that somebody would be childish enough to do something like that. But there's some pretty childish people. people,
There
there are
are.
people who do just really things to get attention. I feel like people need more attention, and you hate to blame everything on social media, but the attention seeking behavior has increased
So
in my.
I'll tell you something. In 2019, we got a call. Two things. In 2019, every night between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. from November 2019 to February 2020, we got a call from one of the poll boxes in New York City. They have poll boxes on the street where you could call for the police or fire department. No one uses them anymore because everyone has cell phones. The only people who use them are or the only time they get used is when a child sees them, a kid, and they push the button. But this guy was doing it every night because he was claiming that he was sick. So we would come, because firefighters, there are more firehouses than there are ambulances. So firefighters go to EMS calls. So we would go and we would just keep him company until the ambulance came to take him to the hospital because he knew that if he claimed to be sick at that time, he'd be brought to the hospital, he can stay overnight and get a free meal in the morning. Every night. He wasn't homeless. He was just drunk and annoying. Um, so the repetitive call idea came from him. The other thing was there was a woman, and if I'm making her sound bad, that's not my intent. She was a concerned mother. I think she might have been overreacting, but she lived in Houston actually, or she didn't live in Houston, but she was working in Houston, or she was in Houston for whatever reason, and her 16-year-old daughter was at home, and whenever she didn't get whenever she called her daughter and the daughter didn't pick up, I don't know how many times she called the daughter, but whenever she felt like her daughter wasn't picking up, she would call the fire department and say that there was an emergency at her house so we can go and check on her daughter. She wouldn't tell us that the reason was go and check on her daughter. She would just say
Right.
there was an emergency and then we would go. And her daughter was annoyed. She was like, there's nothing wrong. This is my mom. And then she would call her mother on speakerphone and yell at her. We can't not go if somebody calls us, even if we know that it's a false alarm or even if we know that it's
Oh,
fake. So that's sort of how the idea came about.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I said, people do all kinds of things. They they do things that and hi Rhonda, my co-host was able to join us. But people do things that I would never dream of thinking about. I just because I one, it's taking time away from real emergencies,
100%.
you know. And if you got a
Sadly, for
teenager
that mother, it is an emergency.
yeah, but if your teenager won't pick up, you need to take that phone. I bet you take that phone. See, you have to be tough with
So the
take
first
the
time,
phone and keep it for about 3 days, and she'll learn some lessons. That's what you have. But a lot of parents aren't willing to do that. They're scared of their kids, and I just think that's a tragedy. But especially if you're paying for the phone, which is most likely the case.
yeah,
Okay, you better pick up when I call. That's it, period. But
the
you have
first time, the first time she called, it wasn't annoying. The second time, it seemed like a bit excessive, and then it was like I think it was a total of 5 times that happened.
okay,
Also,
yeah.
because she can call the police. That's what the police are for.
Well, don't you get into, isn't
That's a
that like
wellness check.
a false reporting
No,
in
no, no.
that
I mean, she can
the
do a
law?
wellness check. She can call the police and do a wellness check. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, it's a good fodder for some,
Exactly.
Firehouse Chronicles, different stories about what happens with the firefighter. So you probably have a rich treasure trove of situations that you can fictionalize.
I'm
Uh,
actually, I'm actually working on book 3 with those same characters.
oh, okay. All right.
Well,
Now,
with the main character, not the antagonist.
right. Okay. So the main character is going to be a continuing character.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I have a question about houses. I wondered. This is something else I saw on the TV. Do people leave their babies there? Is that something that people do if they don't want like unwanted babies can be left
It's
at a firehouse? Is that
so people can do it. Yes, it doesn't happen often. What happens mostly is people leaving their dogs.
their dogs? Oh,
Yeah.
Hmm.
People will buy dogs and not realize how much a responsibility it is, and so they'll just leave it at the firehouse. But we are mandated reporters, and we are I forgot the term used for it, but yes, people can drop off babies to firehouses or police stations.
okay. And I didn't know people could leave the dog. You all can accept dogs?
Yeah,
Oh,
all we do is just call the
yeah.
ASPCA.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I guess probably in New York too. Um, you don't have the space. Dogs need space. Then you have to walk them all the time
Yeah, that was the thing. In 2020, everybody got a dog. And then
during COVID.
when the lockdown ended, they were able to fly again and they didn't have anyone watch the dogs. So firehouses got a lot of dogs.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, were you one of those kids that, as a kid, you wanted to be a firefighter?
Yeah,
People ask you what you wanted to do when you wanted to be when you grew up, and so what did you originally want to be when you grew up?
a writer.
Oh, okay. So, hey, and hey, it took a minute. It took being a firefighter, and then then you have a treasure trove of
How did you
stories.
have to veer off to firefighting?
So in 2013, the first allowed documentary on 9/11 was aired. A lot of people were trying to make documentaries, but they weren't allowed to, or they weren't approved. So the first approved documentary was aired in 2013. And it wasn't so much about what happened, it was about the 911 dispatchers and how a lot of them were experiencing post-traumatic stress afterwards because they were telling people that they were going to be okay when they expected that those people would die. And they were staying on the phone with them until they died. And so it was hard for them. And in that documentary, they played a audio of one of the captains. He was from Engine 10, which is one of the closest firehouses to the Trade Center. Because the radios weren't working, he used a landline and called the 911 dispatcher, and he said, "We're on the 52nd floor. Everyone below us is out. We're going up." And that was the last transmission from him. And him and all of his men died. And at the time when I saw that, I was working at 9 West, a women's shoe store, and it felt like I wasn't doing anything with my life. Like in my head, I was thinking those guys had to have suspected that they were going to die, and they kept going up to make ways for other people to get out. And I was thinking it was the first time it ever occurred to me what a firefighter's job is, and that they're not actually working unless somebody calls for help, right? Like I'll just spend all my time in the firehouse until somebody calls for help. So if you ask a firefighter what their job is, it's to help people, and to take nothing away from people who work in shoe stores, that it's a necessity. But it felt like I wasn't doing enough with my life. And so I looked into applying. The New York City Fire Department only opens for hiring every 4 years. So I was in between. So I just started studying so that when the time came, I could do well on the test.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, 9/11, especially for people who lived in New York, it really led people to do some things. I mean, it really made your mortality just like in your face.
It was a weird time.
I'm sure it was shocking for even people who were not living in New York, but the whole nation was shocked. And I tell people who weren't alive, like weren't born yet, or just not old enough to remember 9/11, it's not something that you can really adequately describe to anybody.
No.
Because you had to have lived through it to understand it.
Yeah, so this is this year's the 25th anniversary of 9/11. And so the fire department is doing a big thing. I did a career day earlier this month at a high school. And it was first of all, it made me feel old, but it was such a shock to my system that no one in high school was alive for 9/11.
Right.
Yeah.
And for them, I wasn't a firefighter during 9/11, but I'm a firefighter talking about why the 9/11 is important to firefighters. And they weren't disrespectful, but it didn't mean anything to them. It was just something that happened in history books, you know?
Right.
And
right.
it was a surprise.
Yeah, my daughter was 6 on 9/11. And the only thing she really remembers is we had to pick her up from school. Because the thing in other places, like Houston, we have a lot of tall buildings, and there were all kinds of rumors that any of the major cities with tall buildings could be hit. And so parents had to pick their kids up from school. So that's all she remembers about it, that she, got picked up from school.
Did she remember being scared, or did she remember
not
being
at
scared?
all, not at all. She'll be 30 next month.
Yeah.
And no, she doesn't remember anything about it. I think you had to be at least a teenager,
right,
to really because it was just a shocking, it was a shock, a numbing thing to the whole country. I mean, everything, it was just a shock.
I was working in it was my first job. I was working in an insurance company. I had just finished graduating high school, and I was working in an insurance company, and they had 1010 winds on. And when the first plane hit, I'm sorry, 1010 winds is a radio station in New York City, it's an all news station.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
that. And when the first plane hit, it was being reported as like a private plane, and that it was an accident. And they weren't making light of it, but it seemed like they were implying, how did they miss that big tower? Like, how did they not see it? And then everyone in the office was sort of joking about it. And it sounds callous, but it wasn't meant like that. Obviously, there were probably two people died, but we weren't thinking about that. We were just thinking, how did that happen, you know? And the radio was on, and we heard them say, "Okay, hang on." They cut somebody off who was a witness, and they said, "Hang on, it looks like another plane just hit," and then the whole office stopped. That's what I remember. It felt uncomfortable to me to hear silence in the office,
Yeah.
and that was creepy for me.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were talking about earlier, because I was a soldier during that time. I was in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because people thank us all the time for our service, and I think
Love you all.
sometimes people forget to thank you all. You all were the first responders, even before we were.
Yeah, and I admire the guys who were on.
I'm sorry.
I admire the guys who were on the job at that time.
Right, right. But I listened to your story that you were actually inspired to be a firefighter because of 9/11. And I think sometimes people don't really appreciate those stories like, oh yeah, right. Everybody says that they were inspired to join the army or they were inspired to be a firefighter. But when you actually hear those stories and you hear that a person was inspired to join the army, and there were people who were inspired to join the army and do their part because they were angry. You were inspired to be a firefighter because of what you saw the firefighters doing at that time.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I think it's a little bit different. People wanted to join us because they were angry. They wanted to get some get back, but then but many of them joined and they saw, wait a minute, everybody's not like what we thought they were.
Right.
They actually saw a little bit of a difference when they went to Afghanistan and actually met actual Afghans.
You know, my sister is a Marine. She's in Camp Lejeune right now. I New York City, I'm sure you guys know this, but New York City has had a rough relationship with law enforcement.
Yes.
And the country has with law enforcement, with people of color. And I'm not, but I have a sister who works for the FBI. She's worked for the FBI for 8 years, I think. And then my sister, who's a Marine, has been a Marines for 19 years. And so I'm not biased against about law enforcement or the armed forces because of them. But for me, to your point, I didn't feel anger at 9/11 when I saw it, what happened. My reaction wasn't, how could anybody do this to people? My reaction was, what were the people who were in the towers thinking? Do you know what I mean? Like when something like this happened, it's a global impact, right? So the whole country is thinking how the country was affected. Those people's families are only thinking about them,
right?
And not knowing whether or not they're going to ever see their loved ones again. And for me, it just felt like I would love to be able to help people out of trouble like that. Law enforcement and our vets, you guys are necessary. I don't know that I'm brave enough to do that, right? Like, you have to enforce the rules of the land and rules of the law. For me, that's not my intent. That's not the way I want to help. And not because I think there's anything wrong with it, just because I feel like that's not where my mind goes. I I love my job. I love that there are so many things. For me, like I said, we don't go to very many fires, but it's so rewarding to go to someone who called because they thought that what they were experiencing was an emergency, and we put them at ease. Walking away and seeing them smiling when they were panicked when we first got there, that's a great feeling.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you get a different reaction from people as a firefighter
100%.
than a police officer does.
Yes.
And do you all carry weapons?
Firefighters, no.
I didn't think so, but I just wanted to ask. So yeah, firefighters, your whole job is to help people.
That's it. Yeah, we're not enforcing any laws or anything like that.
Right, right. Well, you have to be a certain kind of person to want to do that every day, help people.
It's
It's
a
just
great
like
feeling.
people who are in healthcare, people who are nurses.
100%.
I mean, I've only been in the hospital once, and my daughter was recently in the hospital having lost a baby. Both times when I had, and the only time I was in the hospital was when I had her. So to give birth to my daughter, and I had a C-section, so I was in there for 3 days. And my daughter, baby died, and she had a stillbirth. So the nurses are incredible.
100%.
I,
I have been to the hospital a lot, and I am always very impressed. It's underappreciated.
it
I
is.
think it's a
And you have
thankless
to be
job.
a certain kind of person to do
Yes,
that. It's not, I didn't get any people when I was in the hospital or when my daughter was, where I felt like they were fronting, they were pretending.
never.
They were genuinely concerned. I mean, because the things they were doing, it showed that they were. And that
Yes,
takes a certain kind of personality.
yeah,
And not
100%.
all of us have that. And um, I initially went to college for nursing. And my first when I went into when I had to go into the hospital and touch a stranger for the first time, I said, this is not for me. It's not for everybody.
No, no.
So it's a personality thing. You have to have a empathetic spirit, and it's just a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you I credit to you and other firefighters because the things that you all do, really, you all save lives on a regular basis.
We try to. I gotta say, so I've been on the job for 10 years. I don't know the number, but I've done CPR at least 500 times.
Oh, wow.
We've only been successful in bringing someone back 5 times in my career.
Wow.
Oh,
Um, and that is a hard thing to experience when you're in it.
I'm sure it
Um,
is.
but man, to be successful is an amazing feeling.
I bet. Well, we're actually a little bit over our time.
I'm sorry.
This has been an amazing conversation just about
Yeah.
firefighting and just picking a career and the way things impact us in our lives. Show your book cover one more time. And it's about a firefighter is his main character.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
No Man's Ghost.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you, Jason Powell,
Thank
for
you
being
guys for having me.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you for being
welcome.
here.
Thank
And we
you.
did put your I did put your link in a chat. So
I
I hope
appreciate
people
it.
will click the link and will purchase your book.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for yours. Thank you.
Have a good
All
night,
right.
guys.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Rhonda, you normally make me aware of the time. Then I looked down and I saw that it was 8:31.
I'm sorry. We both got caught up.
We got caught up. It was an interesting conversation. I don't think we've ever had a firefighter on the show. And someone that was in New York, for 9/11. That's,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't know if you've had a chance to get back to New York and go to the Twin Towers Memorial.
no.
It's very beautiful and it's very moving. If you ever have a chance to get over there.
Okay. The last time I was in New York was when we were there together. And
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay.
probably my last time in New York.
Okay. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to go over there and go to the 9/11 Memorial, it's very beautiful over there. They did a nice
Okay.
job with it.
Okay. Our final guest is a book club. I think she's a facilitator of the book club, but this book club, I think this is, uh, I think it's the Sister Friends Book Club. I should have had it ready, but at any
Oh,
rate,
yeah, I should have had it ready to help you. Hold on. Let
she
me,
comes to the book festival every year, her book club. And
yeah.
so, uh, Monica, I wanted to have you on the show since you're here every year. and talk about your book club and you know, how many years you've been coming to the National Black Book Festival, and just let the audience know what your book club does and what you do when you come to the event. So welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. And let me ask you to unmute so we can hear your voice. You ready?
Me? Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Well, hello, Gwen.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Dr. Rhonda.
Hello, hello.
Thank you guys for having me. I was surprised to see that email, Gwen.
Well, I wanted to, I hadn't had a book club from Houston, the Houston area or Texas. You're in the Houston area, right?
No, I'm not.
But you are in Texas.
I'm not in Texas.
Okay. All right. I had you mixed up with another book club that I thought was in Texas. But
I am your neighbor. I'm in Louisiana.
oh, okay. Okay. All right.
I think it's because we come see you a lot that you think we're
I
in
see
Texas.
you so much. I thought you were in town.
I think that's because sister friends like to come visit with Gwen, and Gwen is sick and we're in Texas. No, we're right here in Louisiana.
But you're not that far. What part of Louisiana are you in?
Well, our members are Shreveport and Houghton, Louisiana.
Okay.
I thought that was Shreveport. I was looking at the area code.
Yeah, we're right next door. We're not that far. That's so when Gwen has something going on, we're going to say, giddy up, let's go.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you. So
and you were asking me about Sister Friends Book Club, and it's funny because we've had an argument about how long have we really been around.
Okay.
And we can say it's been over 28 years.
Okay. I knew it was a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, Gwen, because we came to visit you back. I think the first time we came to see you was around 2010 when you had both of the BJs there, Beverly, Brenda, and then you had Carl Weber.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
that was okay.
Yeah.
That was a while back because Carl hasn't been here since 2010. That was the last time Carl was here.
But Sister Friends Book Club, like I said, we are over here in Louisiana. We've been together for 28 years. I'm actually vice president.
Okay.
I'm vice president. Kalita Bell is our president. We call her TT. And we have, believe it or not, there are 5 of us, and we are 5 very active women who can get a lot done. Okay, we started out as you all would know, a hen party. We would get together on a hen party. You know, you get your girls together on the weekend, and you're going to have a little food and a little drinks, and you're going to do a little talking and hanging out. You know, it was way before Netflix and Chill, you know.
Okay.
And so one day, one of the ladies in the group, she's no longer a member, Tony said, she mentioned a book, and I can't remember if it was an Eric Jerome Dickey book or Terry McMillan, and everybody's, oh, well, we read that. So one says, oh, you read it? I read it. So why don't we become a book club?
Okay.
And that's pretty much what we decided to do all those years ago. And we knew each other because all of us worked in the local public hospital here. So we've known each other collectively over 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a long relationship.
That's a very long relationship. So we decided to get together, had our first informal meeting at the local hospital where we worked in the cafeteria. We really can't pinpoint that date, but it was, somebody knows. And the first book that we discussed, I will never forget it. It was Trying to Sleep in the Bed You Made.
Okay, that's the Virginia DeBerry
and Donna Grant.
Okay, yeah. All right.
A book came out over 29 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our first book that we had a book chat on. And we've been going strong since then.
Okay, it's funny you remember that book because that book, I think I know I read that too. Then they had another one after that was popular. I don't remember the title of that one. Then they had like an anniversary thing, like maybe 10 years after that.
Yes, they did.
But I don't think they're writing anymore.
No, they're not. I followed, I think I followed Donna on Facebook every now and then.
Okay.
And yeah, they're not writing anymore. They did do something, but
they did something.
Yeah, but
It was
not what they're doing.
it was before COVID, whatever they
Yes,
did. It was
yeah.
before COVID.
They were doing something before then, but like I said, Gwen, with you down there in Houston, when you do your thing and you bring those authors that we want to see, it's no problem gassing up the vehicle and saying, let's go see what Gwen got going on over there in Houston. Okay.
Well,
Because
we
so
are
good to book clubs.
Yeah, we are excited about our lineup for this year. We yesterday we confirmed Beatrice Dixon, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Honey Pot Company.
Okay.
The Honey Pot products, the feminine hygiene products, and she wrote a memoir, and so she's going to be at this year's event. And you know, she recently sold her company for like $1 billion.
Hey.
But she's still the CEO. They've kept her running the company.
That's awesome.
She's a young woman too. I don't think she's 40. I don't think so. She and her brother started, and it's just interesting. I wrote a book, a children's book called Boss Women, that has 7 African American women who built their business from the ground up. And she was one of the people in my children's book.
Okay.
So when I contacted them about having her come, I sent her the book. So I'm hoping, I think that had like helped me seal the deal with her.
Well, I'm sure you can seal the deal. I mean, you've gotten authors there that we wanted to see. I mean, I think, and you know, I'm writing my dates down because as readers, and Miss Tony out there knows, you know, we call her Mama Tony because Mama Tony knows everything. Mama Tony knows, and a lot of the readers know that when you had Maureen Smith there in 2016, and as readers of the Wolf Pack and all of the stuff that Maureen Smith did, you know, she's gotten off social media. I'm like, we ain't got the authors we want to see. I mean, when you had Carl Weber there, and we had been stalking Carl Weber since his first book, Looking for Love, and we showed up and we was like, Carl Weber's going to be there along with Brenda Jackson and Beverly Jenkins. Oh, yeah, we got to go see what Gwen got going on down there. And then that was the year you had Donna Hill and a lot of other people that, you know, we were reading during that time because, you know, for us, especially readers who are looking for that Black author, they were not there. And then for you to incorporate them all in one spot, the only person who had been doing that was Miss Emma Rogers. Remember when she had Black Images?
Yes.
And she had that Romance Slam Jam. And so you had an opportunity to be the reader meeting the author. And that's one thing I want to say to our readers out there, Gwen, and I thank you for their platform. The authors want to meet their readers. If you are a reader and your authors out there, if you get the opportunity, follow their page, you know, on social media. If they tell you where they're going to be, if it's in your wheelbarrow, go see them. Because they really want to meet their readers. I have been, and sister friends, have been blessed to meet all of our favorite authors. You know, that's one of the things that I think when people get in a book club, what you're going to understand is there's a lot of us out there that are reading. Reading incorporates friendships. You know, like I said, we've been doing this for 28 years.
Yeah.
I've got friends in St. Louis. I've got friends in Texas. I got the Mississippi Magnolias with Antoinette Gates over there in Mississippi. You know, it's Bobby Austin is up there in Houston, who was a romance historian. So you give us an opportunity as book clubs, readers, to meet our authors. You know, kudos to you for this, Gwen, because that's something you do.
Well, thank you. We've been doing it for a long time. Just
started
off in the book space, and I was telling one of the previous guests, I forgot which one tonight, that we started in December of '98 with the online with Kush City, and we've been in books ever since. So we have got a couple more people, but our featured author lineup for this year is coming together. We have Tia Williams.
Did I see Rashonda Tate on there?
Yeah, Rashonda's going to be here. Brian W. Smith is coming back. Monica Walters has never been.
She's coming. I saw that on the lineup.
Who is the other person? Jessica Watkins.
Okay.
She's coming. And I have 2 more that I'm waiting on. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. They're high profile people. So I don't want to say anything at all until I get a official confirmation. But
I'm hoping, sure you'll get that confirmation.
I mean, I'm hoping so.
We're going to say you're going to get that confirmation. I think you're a little persuasive.
Okay, I try.
Rhonda, you're working with, I think you're a little persuasive. And Rhonda, you were the moderator, right, when we were there in October?
Right.
Okay, well, she's a literary correspondent. Yeah. I want to give her whole title. She's a literary correspondent. And she has been that for 10 years.
What, 2017?
Yeah, 9 years. So yeah, she's been that. And does an excellent job. I don't have to think about
you're right. She did. I
mean, right, or is she gonna be informed, or so I don't have to think about it. It's already done, and that's what I really like about our team. Whatever capacity each team member has, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. They know what they're supposed to do. If there's a problem, they know how to handle it. The only time they come to me if this is like a big problem.
Yeah. And see, and when you give that structure, that's how you have a book club. In a book club, you're going to have your president, which I said we have. We have a vice president, which is me. We actually have a secretary and a treasurer. Because in a book club, we do generate a fee. You get charged. You pay your monthly due.
Okay.
And you also pay a fee if you don't read the book.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, I haven't heard that before.
Me either.
Yeah, if we give you the opportunity of a month to read a book, why would you come to the meeting and you haven't read the book or purchased the book?
Okay. Well, each club is different. I'm in 2 book clubs. Each book club has different,
rules and structure. But it also shows your level of commitment.
Right.
I mean, if you want to be active in something, then don't show up and that's why I didn't read the book. I didn't get the book. Well, that's fine. Let's pay for it.
So how much do you charge for not reading the book?
Well, at the first base, it was $5, but inflation goes up, so the fee will go to 10.
Okay. So
I think it's in your best interest to go on and read the book.
That's true.
Yeah, just go on and read the book.
How much are your dues?
Well, like I said, the dues are the same price as the fee is.
Okay. All right.
So if you want to drop a 20 for a meeting, that's fine.
Okay. Now, you know what? Tampia Jones, she's over the Cover Girls Book Club. I think they're out of Memphis. She put in the chat how much is the fee. So I guess she might be thinking about that for her.
I think you just gave some ideas.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, because when you say structure, Gwen, you want people who are committed. Like I said, as long as we've been together, we were 6 women. One of our sisters transitioned, that's fine. But 5 women strong can get a lot done. We've hosted authors here in our own town.
Okay.
We've hosted events here, and we're not just talking. I mean, Beverly Jenkins has been here, Brenda Jackson has been here. The late great Francis Ray.
Okay.
Because back in 2006, Miss Emma Rogers had that Romance Slam Jam, went from city to city, and we were fortunate in 2006 to host it in Shreveport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we hosted the Romance Slam Jam here in Shreveport, and I'm gonna give you a quick background. We were in Atlanta in 2002 for the Romance Slam Jam in Atlanta. I was having, you guys, the best time. I mean, authors, books, me, and I was in the bathroom. Be careful what you say in the bathroom. Check the stalls because people are listening. I was not aware that Miss Emma was in the bathroom while I was gushing about, oh, I would love to bring this to Shreveport. We need to bring this to Shreveport. And it wasn't 2 or 3 hours later. 2 or 3 hours later, someone said, Miss Emma wants to talk to you. I'm like, okay, what did I do? Well, Monica, I hear you want to bring the Slam Jam to Shreveport. I'm like, oh my God. You're going to kill me. But we did it. We took it. Brenda Jackson was one Emma Award winner. And we actually had one of the first ladies, Sandra Kitt.
I remember her.
Yes. Sandra Kitt, who pretty much started it all back in the days of BET Airbest. You know, yeah. Sandra Kitt was our keynote speaker. And then following later that year, we had Beverly Jenkins come for a visit.
Okay.
And you want to understand, as a book club, it's not just about reading the books. You know, you want to know the authors. You want to go out and meet. You want, like I said, we've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. Our president is the traveler. She, back when in the days when Paige Turner used to do the cruise.
Okay.
Okay, she was on that Paige Turner cruise back when Eric Jerome Dickey and Victoria Christopher Murray and all of them were on that cruise. And so it gives us an opportunity to fellowship with like-minded people. And when you do your book club, establish the genre of what you're going to read. For us, we are Sister Friends Book Club. So that means we're only reading Black authors.
Okay.
We are reading Black authors. The genre may change on what we read, but we only read Black authors. You know, we read from contemporary to romance suspense to romance, you know, but it varies. We're very big on our contemporary. Anything else you want to read is personal read. Okay. You know, it's not going to be a book club discussion book. You know, my personal reading genre covers a gauntlet. I read everything, you know. I don't turn nothing down. Put it in front of me with words and I'm going to read it. But yeah, in any book club out there, you know, they've been around. I follow a lot of people on social media that have book clubs that I get ideas and suggestions from. You know, you got Sharon Lucas out there. She's very good about giving ideas and suggestions. And like I said, you got Mama Tony. You know, you got Antoinette Gates over there in Mississippi. You know, you have a lot of wonderful people. Oh, and I can't forget Midnight Ace. You know, Midnight is another person who's out there pushing books, pushing authors, getting readers together.
Okay, I know Midnight Ace. Now, Miss Magnolia Reads.
Oh, in Mississippi, yeah.
She talked about the $5. They charge $5.
Yeah. No, we used to be $5.
The fee. Yeah. For, I guess, not reading the book. That's, you know, this is my first time hearing about.
Yeah. I mean, but why would you waste your time? Why would you waste your time being a part of something if you're not going to be active in it?
Well, sometimes people, okay, Mama Tony said their dues are $15 a month, but they don't do fines. They don't do fines. Okay. So Jason Powell, he was just on the show. He said he's not even in a book club, but he's going to start charging people for not reading.
All right, then. Very good, very good. Love to give some ideas, and I love to give ideas. But understand also with your book club, Antoinette knows, Midnight knows, authors are looking for their readers and they're looking to contact their readers. We were fortunate in 2024, Iris Bowling, USA best-selling author, you love Iris, she was doing her kitchen table chat, visiting 12 cities. I threw Shreveport in the pot. Again, my book club is looking at me, there she go again.
Okay.
But I threw Sister Friends in the pot, and we were able to host her in 2024.
Okay, because she had a book, and I read it. It had like a medical theme.
Well, she's got the Heart series. She has.
I can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah, she has a lot of books out there that are. I mean, the whole Lassiter. Anyway, anything with Iris, you know. But we we were able to host her, and she wanted an intimate thing. You know, she wanted a kitchen table chat, no more than 75, and I think we had maybe less than 75, but more than 50.
Okay.
And they came from Mississippi. They came from 2 book clubs out of Texas.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I was just in Texas last year for a book chat with a book club in Texas. They hosted Iris. I'm gonna have to give you their names.
Yeah, they might already be in our database, but
and Iris, like I said, she came here. We had people from Chicago. I think somebody even came as far as Pennsylvania. And we had 2 days with her. But for readers to know, authors want to do that with you. They want to be engaging. They want to come out and meet you. I know expenses are, things are costing more and more every day. I've even pulled back on book conferences, Gwen, because the fees that they charge now.
Yeah, it's some people are, our event is free for general admission. If you want the extra stuff where we serve food and we have some extra special events, you can do that if you want to. But the general admission, meaning meeting all the featured authors, all the exhibits, all the seminars, that's all free.
Yeah.
And so most events, it's new information for me too, are not free. Even the general admission is not free. Like it might be $25. And that's $25 less that a person has to spend with the authors on books.
Book conferences now going in charging upwards of over $250.
I've been seeing that.
Yeah, and more. I mean, even for our conference, which was a 2-day event, I mean, you had that Friday night meet and greet at one of the local restaurants. You had your Saturday tea luncheon with the author, and then you had that Friday night. Well, the thing was what a man. So we had like a male auction that night. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
So, but we only charged $50.
Okay.
And we fed people twice.
Okay.
Because we're Southern girls. We're going to feed you.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was to the point that, believe it or not, that night at the banquet, as we call it, with the man, more than one of the ladies asked us, because when I said we fed them good, we look here, we fed them. Did y'all? I don't think y'all charge us enough money. We need to pay y'all more. And you're thinking to yourself, that's how you want people to feel when they leave your conference.
So they got their money's worth, whatever.
They got their money's worth, and they want to come back. So the next time you do something, they're gonna feel like it was not just time well spent, but my money was well spent. Right. And then I had an intimate time with the author. Because a lot of these conferences, I don't want to, they're overloading. And you can't really enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
You have to limit the number of moving parts that you have. You can't just, otherwise it's just like chaos. Well, Monica, we are at the end of our time, but I wanted to let people know about how they can reach you on social media with your book club, Sister Friends.
Okay, well, to reach us on social media, believe it or not, we do not do a social media page.
Okay.
We do not do a social media page, but I am on social media under Monica Anderson Johnson. And I don't mind if you come on there, even DM me to ask about my book club. I will get your information. I will talk to you about it. I mean, we never do anything online because, like I said, we're local and we meet in person. But we've had people say, I would come over from Texas to be in your book club meeting. You know? And so just reach me on social media, just like you see, Monica Anderson Johnson. And I'll be more than happy to, not even any book club or anything you want to talk about book related. Look me up, because I will be coming, Gwen. Thank you for the platform.
All right.
I'm going to let you know Monica Reads, READS, will be coming to social media soon.
Okay.
And there will be Monica and books.
Okay. Well, good. I'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, yeah, hit me up, tag me or whatever.
I will.
It happens. Okay. All right. Well, we're at the end of our time, but thank you so much, Monica. I look forward to seeing you in October.
Yes, you will.
Okay. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the end of the show for tonight. What I want to do is remind everybody that the Black Authors Matter TV Awards voting is still open until midnight tonight. That's midnight Central Time. So if you haven't voted yet, or you want to get in some last minute votes for your favorites, then do so. And the 2 weeks from tonight is when we have our awards show. So until next Tuesday, we have another amazing lineup next week, and we'll see you then on another episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.